Bonjour, bonjour everyone, and I hope you're all keeping well. And I have just finished my daily live stream in our group Eat Like a French Woman, and we're talking about savouring food. So I mentioned briefly bread, but I thought I would hop onto this group and make a demonstration of how to savour bread. So bonjour, bonjour again. I hope you can join us today on this live stream. Please, click on the like button or the love button. I can see the little hearts floating below my screen, so I know that you're enjoying this topic. And then you can hear me and see me. So today, bread. Yes, so in Eat Like a French Woman group, every day I hop on to that group and we talk about all the topics of the course, one topic per day. And today we're talking about savouring the food, and I mentioned the bread. So here you are. I wanted to show you the bread we usually eat here with my husband, and voila. So it is une Baguette Tradition. So you can see, so it's fresh. Us French do not really like eating bread that's not fresh. We use bread that is not fresh, for instance, in pain perdu, but we buy our bread daily. There are also breads that last longer than a day. For instance, the sliced bread, you have les boules or le pain de campagne. So they are larger bread, they are circular usually, they are cut in slices there at the boulangerie for you, or you just cut them with a bread knife at home if you like. And these do last longer than a day. But these small bread, especially the baguettes, do not last more than a day. So they have to be eaten fresh. So we're talking about savouring food and involving the senses, and of course here, looking at this baguette makes me want to eat, and smell of fresh baked bread. I mean, what better than fresh baked bread, I ask you. It is just amazing. So this one is what we call une baguette traditionnelle. Traditionnelle, so here it says, le savoir-faire de votre artisan boulanger. Baguette de tradition française. So this is why this bread, for instance, if you go to a baker, boulanger, and you ask for this baguette, you will not ask, donnez-moi une baguette de tradition française. You will just ask for a tradition. Pourrais-je avoir une tradition, s'il vous plaît? Une tradition, yes. So they know that it's a baguette or bread, so you don't have to say baguette or bread, just une tradition, s'il vous plaît. Et voilà, they serve you this. So this bread costs more than the normal baguettes. The taste is exquisite. But as I always say, quality, not quantity, very much with food. This is what we do. So maybe you're asking the question, how do we know if bread is fresh? First of all, the smell. You cannot mistake the smell of fresh baked bread. It's just absolutely amazing. You just smell. The bread that's from yesterday will not smell strong like that. Okay, so we're talking about this big boule, or pain de campagne. These will have, you cut them and you press your nose, it will smell, but still it's a different smell. But the fresh baked bread has its own smell, and you can tell a mile away. You can't, you smell that fresh baked bread and you know the bread is fresh. Okay, but there's also other ways to know if your bread is fresh, pardon me, by feeding it. Okay, so this kind of bread, for instance, the crust will be, and you can hear it, so it's crusty on the outside, and inside it is it's going to be white or off-white and really soft. So we call this in French la croûte, and inside it's called la mie, M-I-E, croûte, la croûte, the crust, la mie. So I'm going to show you how I cut the bread, how we've always cut the bread in my home. So I place a wooden board. We always cut the bread on a wooden board. So I just put on the agar so you can see it when I'm doing this live stream. I usually don't cut the bread on the agar, of course, but there's a wooden board. I do it on the table, but we always do a cross. And then I'm going to show you. So, I just cut it really quite fast for you. Did you hear it? Listen. So, the crust. So this is, look at this. Putting really close to the camera so you can see how delicious that looks, smells, feels, and will taste in a moment because it's lunchtime. So I will be really enjoying that. Look at this. So this is fresh. There is no, when you press it like this, it's really fresh. The meat inside is soft. I'm putting my fingers, that will be my slice, by the way. And all this is kind of hard, it's crusty. See? So that when they have, when they put the bread to cook, just before cooking it, they slice the top. So when it cooks, it opens up, and this gives you that. So that was cut in the middle here. You see, that opens up, and you have this kind of, look at the texture. You can see well like this. And you have flour as well on the bottom here. So this is made, so there's difference, by the way, by artisan boulanger, or those boulangers, normal boulanger. So when it says artisan boulanger at the top of the boulangerie, like it is written here, artisan boulanger, it's usually written at the top of the bakery. And artisan boulanger, what does it mean compared to the boulanger? Well, it means that the bread has been made and baked on the premises, okay? And you have more choice usually than other bakeries. So the other bakeries will probably buy the bread already made somewhere, and they cook it and they bake it on the premises. So that's the difference. When it is done by the boulanger himself, then it is more likely to be of really good quality with the best ingredients, and they actually make it, well, obviously with machines because there's so many, but it is done all on the premises. They know where the flour comes from, they know where all ingredients come from, so it's all, we call it pétri, la pâte est pétrie chez le boulanger. Et les pains sont cuits aussi dans les fours du boulanger. Okay, so it's made on the premises and it's baked as well on the premises. So that's the difference between artisan boulanger and a normal boulanger. Just in case you didn't know. Hello Lynette, thank you Marianne, your lovely bread is making me hungry. Oh, I know it makes me hungry too. Look at this. Please give me plenty of hearts. I know you're enjoying it. Look at this. This is French bread, as its best. So how to savor that? First of all, as I mentioned before, the sense of smell. You need to smell this. It's just look at the back. So you've got the flour. This is the flour on the back. Is usually a traditionnel when you have your bread from artisan boulanger, and especially this type of bread, the tradition, traditional bread, if you like. It really is beautiful, beautiful, delicious bread, and you can eat all sorts of things with it and also by itself. So I tell you something, if you have ever been to France, you will see children on the trolleys, and let's say the little children may be hungry. They will get, if they're hungry, they ask for something, they're not going to be given a sweet, they will be given a piece of bread, and you see the little child, chewing on his little, usually it's a little quignon, smaller than this. We call it le quignon, is the end. You can have a little piece of a baguette and you'll be chewing on that. no sweeties. Hello Janet, is a tradition behind putting the loaf before cutting it, putting the eggs? Well, I always seen my father do it like this. You know, we are Catholic, so could be something like that, probably is, I would think. So we do a cross, okay, a cross, and then we cut. So we've always done that in our family. So I continue the tradition. So so we're doing this. So you smell the bread and you look at it and you can tell, as I was mentioning before, if it's very fresh. If it's not as fresh, it's not going to be as soft, but the crust is not going to be as hard as that. So it depends if it's dried up. So if it's dried up, the consistency changes from one day to the next. This is made to be eaten the same day. It's at its best the same day. Although the tradition is nice the next day, we have an agar, and so if there's some left, we put it in a simmering oven for a few minutes to warm up, and it's really good consistency. Or usually we make toast for the next morning for breakfast, because as I say, we buy fresh bread every day, 9 times out of 10. So you see the consistency. This is fresh bread. Bread that is not as fresh will not yield like that. It won't be as soft. It certainly won't smell like fresh bread. Probably you really would have to put your nose closer to it. It won't smell. So you have various ways to know if bread is fresh or not. So consistency, the sense of smell, but it may look the same. So you can't always go by the look. But definitely, the smell and the consistency. Of course, it would be the taste. So when you taste it, it would taste the texture would be different. This texture here is so more, you eat it just, it's almost like a cake. I just need a drink, excuse me. Because it's so fresh, almost like a cake. You can almost taste, have it without butter, and certainly I don't put butter on my bread. Many people do that, put butter on their bread. I prefer it plain like this, but it is wonderful. So here you are. There's so many ways to eat bread, of course. So I'm not going to mention that here. But so please let me know how, which is your favorite bread, and how do you enjoy your bread? If you have, French bread available where you are, so good to know. There's a lot of bread in France, definitely, and we wouldn't do without boulanger or bakers. Certainly, in every town we have plenty of boulangers, and even the little villages, although now there's less and less. But here, for instance, we live in a little town, so it's almost like a village. It's in the countryside and it's quite spread out. And the last boulanger closed down a few years ago, so there is no boulanger, and we were, oh mon Dieu, pas de boulanger, qu'est-ce qu'on va faire? But they've got, here in France, you will laugh because I don't know if you have it, but in France it's fairly new, this concept, because I must think that it can't have been really well received in the beginning. But it's called dépôt de pain. I don't know if you heard that, but it's a machine, and you get bread like this. This one has been bought in the bakers, but you have beautiful bread. Every morning the artisan boulanger comes and fills up that machine, and every evening it gets emptied, and every day is brand new bread, freshly baked bread. It's absolutely beautiful, and it would not be accepted in France to have in those machines bread that is not fresh. It would be a revolution. So talking about that freshness, it was not bread, it was croissants. I remember years ago I was living in Jersey, and I went to a shop, to the corner shop, sold everything, and they had croissants. So okay, I went to get a croissant for my husband and one for me, drove home, and sat down with my coffee, and the croissants were not fresh. And my husband was saying, but of course they're fresh. How do you know they're fresh? I said, I am French. I know. From a toddler, if your croissant is not fresh, your pastry is not fresh, or if your bread is not fresh. So the next day I complained and told them, you know, you sold me some croissants not fresh, and they said it's not fresh from the day. I said no. So sometimes people will try, you know, but once you know what it's, you know, what freshness feels like and looks like, you know, tastes like, smells like, everything, you know, you can't be scammed again. So I hope you enjoy bread as much as we do in France. Please let us know. Let me give me some comments below this video, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much for watching. À bientôt.